It is officially time for me to tell you guys my official table predictions from National League all the way up to the Premier League for the upcoming 24 to 25 season. What's up guys, hope you're all well. So today we are going to be taking a look at my official National League predictions for the upcoming 24-25 season. Before we get into the predictions guys, please be sure to hit a like button. Let's go for a whopping 130 likes on today's video. I know you all can do it, and please also be sure to smash the subscribe button. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. We are now at 80 subscribers, so once again guys, thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot to me. Now let's get straight into the predictions. Right then guys, let's start out with my bottom four then. So in 24th place I've got Braintree Town, 23rd place I've got AFC Fylde, 22nd place I've got Tamworth, and then 21st place I've got Boston United. Let's start out with Braintree Town first then. So Braintree Town are one of the newly promoted sides to the National League. They won the National League South playoffs to get here. However, I just don't think they're going to have enough quality to stay up in this league. Obviously, their main goal is to stay up and avoid relegation, but for me, I personally just don't think it's going to happen for me. I'm sorry, Braintree fans. I know you want your team to stay up in the National League. However, I just don't think you're going to have enough quality to do it. So 24th place for Braintree for me. Next up then, in 23rd place, I've got AFC Fylde. Now, I know a lot of people won't like that because AFC Fylde survived last season. However, I just think they're going to have a little bit of a poorer season next season. I don't know why, I just have a feeling that they're going to have that. So 23rd place for AFC Fylde for me. I just don't think they're going to have enough quality to stay up next season. Next up then, in 22nd place, I've got Tamworth, the champions of National League North. Just like Braintree, they haven't been in the National League for quite a while, and now they are back in it, ready to push up the table, trying to survive relegation and just stay in the National League, and possibly over the next seasons try and push on towards the playoffs, maybe towards the top of the league. However, just like Braintree, I just don't think they're going to have enough quality to do it, and I think they're going to have a little bit of a poor season and drop back down to the National League North in the relegation zone. So 22nd place for Tamworth for me. And finally, in my final relegation zone, I've got Boston United, the first of my massive changes in my predictions. Obviously, as you guys probably already seen in my early National League predictions, I put Boston to finish 15th, and Boston are one of the other newly promoted sides to the National League. However, I have changed it. I think Boston will be the fourth team to go down. I just don't think they're going to have enough to stay up. Boston won the National League North playoffs to get here. However, I just don't think they're going to have enough to stay up. So 21st place for Boston for me. Right then guys, moving on to the bottom half of my table prediction. So in 20th place I've got Ebbsfleet, 19th I've got Wealdstone, 18th I've got Maidenhead, 17th I've got Woking, 16th I've got Eastleigh, 15th I've got Rochdale, 14th I've got Hartlepool, and 13th I've got Gateshead. Let's start without Ebbsfleet then. So Ebbsfleet came up to the National League division last season with AFC Fylde, and both AFC and AFC Fylde had a pretty good season on their first season up in the National League. AFC and AFC Fylde both finished in the bottom half of the table. However, I just think next season AFC will have a better season than AFC Fylde. I think AFC will stay up. I think they will finish bottom half of the table again, but I think they will just have enough to stay up next season. So 20th place for Ebbsfleet for me. Next up in 19th place, then we've got Wealdstone. Now Wealdstone are pretty much a veteran to National League now. They've been in it for quite a while. They know this division quite well, so they know how to stay up in the league. They know how to play really good football in this league. They know how to grind out some wins, some good draws. They know how to play some really good football, as I just said. So I just think Wealdstone are just going to have a similar season to what they usually have. So yeah, 19th place for Wealdstone for me. Next up in 18th place, we've got another veteran to the National League. It's Maidenhead. Just like Wealdstone, they know this league quite well now. They know how to grind out some good wins. They know how to play some good football now and then. So I just think that Maidenhead are just going to have a very similar season and finish in 18th place. So 18th place for Maidenhead for me. In 17th place, I've got Woking. Now, Woking is my second favourite team in the National League. Obviously, one day I would love to see them in the Football League. A couple of seasons ago, they nearly did it. They ended up finishing playoffs of the National League a couple of seasons ago. However, last season they ended up having a bit of a drop-off, which was very strange to see. But it does happen. You do have teams that do well and then have a big drop-off the season after. So it does happen. It's not new to the Football League. You can see it. It does happen. However, I just think Woking are probably going to have a similar season to last season. Obviously, I would love to see them back in the playoffs or possibly even win the league and go up to the Football League. However, I just don't see it happening. So 17th place for Woking for me. In 16th place, I've got Eastleigh. Now, Eastleigh, as you can see, I'm a Southampton fan. So Eastleigh are my favourite team in the National League. I have a massive, big heart for Eastleigh. However, I just don't think they're going to have enough to push on to the playoffs like I thought they would do in my early predictions. Yes, I put a bit of bias in that one because obviously EC are my favourite National League team, and I am dying to see them in the Football League one day, and I think they will do it at some point. I just don't think it will be just yet, but it is coming. I do see them pushing up the table in a few seasons. But obviously, we had a pre-season match against them. We had a friendly match against them. And even though we beat them 7-1, even though it's pre-season, and even though they were playing a Premier League side in Southampton, losing 7-1 doesn't look very good if I'm being totally honest. So I do think AC will have enough to stay up. I think they'll have a pretty good season. They know how to grind out some good wins. However, I just don't see them pushing on just yet. So 16th place for Eastleigh for me. In 15th place, then I've got Rochdale. So Rochdale were one of the newly relegated sides to the National League last season. Rochdale ended up finishing 11th, so just outside the top 10. However, next season, I think they're just going to have a little bit of a poorer season. So yeah, I just feel Rochdale know this league now. They know how to grind out some good wins. They know how to play some good football. However, I just think they're going to have a little bit of a drop-off, just a little bit. So 15th place for Rochdale for me. In 14th place then, I've got Hartlepool. Now, Hartlepool are the other new relegated side last season to the National League. And I just found it quite funny because Hartlepool last season managed to finish one spot below Rochdale. I just found it funny how Rochdale and Hartlepool, both of the newly relegated sides, managed to finish right next to each other last season. So yeah, Hartlepool managed to finish 12th. But just like Rochdale, Hartlepool know how to grind out some good points. They know how to play some good football. And I just feel like Rochdale are just going to have not Rochdale. I just feel like Hartlepool are just going to have a similar season to last season and finish in 14th place. So just below top half, but still have a decent season. So yeah, 14th place for Hartlepool for me. In 13th place then, and my final team to finish in the bottom half of the table, I've got Gateshead. Now, Gateshead last season managed to finish in the playoffs, which was very, very good for them. I think that was their first time in the playoffs, I believe. Could have been their second or third time in the playoffs, but I can't remember. But Gateshead ended up not being able to play in the playoffs because they were having council issues, and so they weren't able to play in the playoffs or even get a chance to probably go up to the League 2. However, next season, I just feel like they're going to have a little bit of a drop-off. So, I don't know. I just feel like they're going to lose a few good players, and not do as well as they did last season. So 13th place for Gateshead for me. Sorry, Gateshead fans. I know it's a bit harsh for me saying that because she had a very good season last season. But we do see this with a few teams. We do see teams that have a good season and then have a little bit of a drop off the season after. And I just feel like Gateshead are going to be one of those teams. So, yeah, 13th place for Gateshead for me. Right then, guys, moving on to the top half of my table prediction, the teams that are just missing out on the playoffs. I've got Halifax in 12th, Aldershot in 11th, Dagenham and Redbridge in 10th, Sutton United in 9th, and Forest Green Rovers in 8th. Let's start with Halifax then. So Halifax last season had a very good season. They managed to finish just inside the playoffs in 7th place. Obviously, we all know by now that Halifax, unfortunately for them, didn't win the playoffs. It was Bromley. So Halifax next season will have to go through another National League season to try and get back into the playoffs. However, I just don't see it happening. I just have a feeling that they probably won't do it next season. And I just think Halifax are just kind of a little bit of a drop off. Not too much, because obviously 12th is still a very good place to be. But yeah, 12th place for Halifax for me. Next up then, in 11th place, I've got Aldershot. Now, as we all know by now, Aldershot are also a veteran to the National League. They know this league very well. But what we also know is that Aldershot are a very good side to the National League. They know how to play really well. They always do well in this league. Last season they did really well. They were back to their usual self after the season before, where they finished bottom half of the table, I believe it was. But yeah, last season we saw Aldershot get back to their usual self. Unfortunately for them, they finished just outside the playoffs in 8th place. But I just feel like Aldershot next season are just going to have a very similar season to what they usually do. However, I just feel like they're just going to drop a few places, but still finish 11th place in a very good position. So yeah, 11th place for Aldershot for me. Next up in 10th place, just sneaking into the top 10, I've got Dagenham and Redbridge. Now, Dagenham and Redbridge are a team that a little bit well known to a few football fans. Dagenham and Redbridge have been up in the Football League before. They've been up to as far as League 1, I believe. It probably would have possibly even the Championship. But all I remember is that they were up in League 1 at one point. They were in League 2 a few seasons. But they've been in the National League for quite a while now. They know this league quite well now. And obviously their goal now is to try and get back up to the Football League, try and get into the playoffs, or possibly even win the league. I just feel like Dagenham and Redbridge have been like a little bit of a mediocre team. They've been having like hit and miss seasons now and again. However, I feel like next season is gonna be like a very good season for them. I feel like they're going to do really well. However, I just feel like they're just gonna miss out on the playoffs just a little bit. So yeah, 10th place for Dagenham and Redbridge for me. What do you guys think on that one? Next, I'm going to do 9th and 8th together. Sutton United in 9th, Forest Green Rovers in 8th. Now, the reason why I'm doing these both together is because these are both the newly relegated sides from League 2 coming down to the National League next season. I just feel like next season, both Sutton and United and Forest Green just need to have like a little bit of a rebuild season, especially Forest Green Rovers, because obviously they've now just suffered like back-to-back relegations, which obviously isn't very good for the club. And so I feel like next season both teams need to have a bit of a rebuild. Last season, Forest Green Rovers ended up finishing bottom of League 2, and Sutton United finished just above them in 23rd place, second from bottom. Yeah, I just feel like next season is just going to be a bit of a tougher National League sort of season, and I feel like Sutton United and Forest Green Rovers just need a little bit of a rebuild season. So yeah, 9th place for Sutton United and 8th place for Forest Green Rovers for me. Both teams just missing out on the playoffs, but only just. Right then, guys, and finally we move on to my top 7 for the table predictions for next season. So in 7th place I've got Altrincham, 6th place I've got York City, 5th place I've got Yeovil Town, 4th place I've got Solihull Moors, 3rd place I've got Southend United, 2nd place I've got Oldham Athletic, and 1st place I've got Barnet. Let's start out with Altrincham then. So Altrincham are also a veteran to the National League. They've been in this league for quite a while, and Altrincham are also a team that's known to do pretty well in this league every season. Altrincham, I believe, finished in the playoffs last season, and obviously, as we all know by by now Altrincham didn't win the playoffs. It was Bromley, but however, I feel like next season, I think Altrincham are going to have a very similar season to what they always do and just play really well. They always know how to grind out some good results. They know how to grind out some good wins. They know how to play some very good football. So yeah, 7th place for Altrincham for me. In 6th place, I've got York City. Now, York City are another one of my big jumps in my National League predictions. Obviously, yeah, some of you may have seen in my early predictions, I had York City to finish around like 19th or 18th. However, I am going to boost them right up the table into the playoffs because I've seen their transfer window and they've had some very good players coming in. So I just feel like next season, York City are going to push on next season really well and finish in the playoffs. So 6th place for York City for me. What do you guys think on that one? In 5th place is probably one of the most surprising placements for you guys. I've got Yeovil Town to finish in 5th place, and I know what some of you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking like, what? Why Yeovil Town in 5th? They've just come up. Yes, they have just come up. They've won the National League South Division. They've now come up to the National League. However, Yeovil Town have been in the Football League before. They've been as far as the Championship. But then the minute they reached the Championship, they managed to have a massive decline and managed to suffer like triple relegations or something. They went onto the Championship, got relegated straight back down to League One, and I think they just kept falling. However, I feel like when they got relegated to National League South, that was a little bit of a rebuild sort of season, and they managed to win the National League South. However, next season, I just feel like Yeovil are going to have one of those seasons where they do really, really well and surprise people. I feel like they're going to do really well next season and finish in 5th place inside the playoffs. What do you guys think on that one? Bit of a surprising one, I know, but I feel like 5th place is going to go to Yeovil Town. I feel like Yeovil are going to have a very good season. In 4th place, then, I've got Solihull Moors. Now, Solihull Moors are also a veteran to the National League. They've been in this league for quite a bit now. Solihull Moors in 4th place. It's pretty much a standard position for Solihull Moors for the past few years. They've been in the playoffs for quite a few seasons now. However, they haven't managed to win any of them, which I do feel bad for Solihull Moors for that, because obviously as a Solihull Moors fan, you'd expect to at least win one of those National League playoffs. However, unfortunately for you guys, you haven't managed to do that yet. I've backed you guys to finish in 4th place. Next season, I'll back you guys to finish in the playoffs again, which I think some of you guys will be happy about. I think you guys will be buzzing to finish inside the playoffs again. So yeah, I feel like Solihull Moors are going to have a very good season, like always, next season, and finish in 4th place. So yeah, 4th place for Solihull Moors for me. In 3rd place, then, just breaking into the top 3, I've got Southend United. Now, Southend United have been in this league for quite a little bit now. They obviously last season they had some financial issues, and so they weren't able to do as well as they probably would have wanted to. I feel like last season I saw them in first at some point, and they ended up getting like a big points deduction, and all of a sudden they ended up being in bottom or something. I don't know what's happened now. I think it was financial issues, and they were given like a points deduction or something. I don't know. I didn't really pay much attention to the National League last season. But I do know where each team finished, and Southend didn't get relegated. They ended up finishing quite far up the table, even after getting the points deduction. I feel like they finished like 9th or 10th or something last season, which is still a very good season. So next season, I feel like Southend are going to push even more up the table and finish in 3rd place inside the playoffs. So 3rd place for Southend for me. What do you guys think on that one? In 2nd place, then, just missing out of the title, I've got Oldham Athletic. Now, the reason why I got Oldham Athletic in 2nd is pretty much what I said in my early predictions. Oldham, I feel like, are too big for the National League. They're a massive club down there. They shouldn't be down there, in my opinion. They should be at least League One or something. But it does happen. You do see big teams going down there. I just feel like Oldham also need to start pushing on, just like Southend. They need to start pushing on up the table, trying to get back into the Football League. And I feel like next season Oldham are going to end up doing it. I've got to be nice to my dad, because my dad did like a draw at his work and he managed to pick out Oldham. It's basically a draw on who they think is going to win the league. And I've got to be nice to my dad for picking out Oldham. He's picked out Oldham to win the league. But I feel like Oldham are going to finish second, still inside the playoffs though. I still feel like Oldham are going to have a very good season. So yeah, second place for Oldham for me. What do you guys think on that one? And finally, my champion of the National League, I've got Barnet. Now, Barnet are a team that's very well known to do very well in the National League. They always do well every single season. Obviously, last season they finished inside the playoffs. Unfortunately for them, they didn't win the playoffs, but overall they still had a very good season like they always do. Every time they go down to the National League, they always do really well. I feel like because like now that Chesterfield, Notts County and Wrexham are out the way, I feel like Barnet can really go for it next season and finish in the top spot of the National League, win their fourth or fifth National League title, and I feel like Barnet will eventually get back up into the Football League, and I feel like it will be next season. Barnet will do very well next season, I think, and they will win the league. So yeah, Barnet are my champions for me. What do you guys think on that one? So yeah, guys, there you go. That is my official National League table predictions for the upcoming 2024-25 season. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please be sure to share your predictions down in the comments below. Share your thoughts. Obviously, not all of you are going to be happy because obviously I picked some of you guys to be relegated. Obviously, when you do predictions, you have to pick teams to go down. If all teams were to finish in the top spot and get promoted, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, that's not how football works. Teams have to be relegated, and those four teams in Braintree, AFC Fylde, Tamworth and Boston, they are my four teams to get relegated, and I've got Barnet to win the league, and I've got Altrincham, York City, Yeovil Town, Solihull Moors, Southend and Oldham to finish in the playoffs. So yeah, what do you guys think on those ones? I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, guys.